Yeah, okay, I'll level with you. That spell in Germany was probably a little bit shorter than we anticipated it would be, but don't worry, I've got a plan. I think I know what went wrong at Schalke. We didn't set a likes target on episode 1 of the Schalke segment of Non-League to Legend. We're going to fix that here. Let's have 5,000 likes on this video, because that should, if my calculations are correct, and they usually are, you know I'm very good at maths. If my calculations are correct, that should lead to me having at least 5 years here at Norwich to rebuild a career that has taken a bit of a turn over the last couple of seasons. If you are new to the series here, because this is a great jumping on point, we're starting a new club. If you are new to the series, though, and you want to catch up to see what got us to this point, the 3 previous clubs of the save, Leamington, Peterborough and Schalke, are all within the playlist that I'll link to down below, so you can get caught up there as well. But we need to begin again. We're moving to Norwich, and everyone knows what that means. We need to buy a new house. And not only have we managed to get sacked, but we've fallen on our feet, because I've actually had a pay rise as part of this sacking, with Norwich paying me a quite frankly ridiculous £32,500 a week. It's my highest salary of the series by a long, long way. So we need to see how much we can buy a house for, which of course means a trip to the Halifax mortgage calculator. Other mortgage calculators are available. Still flabbergasted no one's ever sponsored this bit. And according to the Halifax mortgage calculator, I can borrow up to £8 million. I mean, I'll throw this out there. I think we can probably buy any house within a 50-mile radius of Norwich. No problem at all. I know there's always some people at this point who say, Kev, you should be working this out based on your after-tax income. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. Use pre-tax income on the Halifax mortgage calculator. Know your Halifax mortgage calculator. Let's find a house. And as expected, in fact, we've got, shall I put my money where my mouth is? Oh, we can't actually go to 50 miles. We can go to 40 miles. Within 40 miles of Norwich, which still doesn't get me all the way back to Peterborough. Very upsetting. But within 40 miles of Norwich, you can't buy anywhere in all this blue bit. I think that's the sea. The most expensive house available is this one at 2.75 million. We're going to have money left over. We can carry on paying rent on that house in Germany indefinitely whilst getting this house. So we're going to go and live at Blowfield. We've got floor plans. Love a floor plan. Let's have a little quick look around the place. We've got one of these peculiar living rooms where rather than pointing your sofa at a telly, you're pointing it at another sofa. Now, I mean, it's weird. We all know it's weird. I don't know why people do that. Very fancy looking kitchen, but not much in the way of seating in there. We're not going to watch the video. Is that just like the fanciest garage in the world? You know, I'm a garage fan. That looks like a fancy garage. A swimming pool. Now you're talking. Finally, I can start living the life I was always destined to live. There's a room with pointing at a telly. Quite a small telly, considering you've got all this house. I'd expect something a little bit bigger. But they do have a footstool all the way along the sofa, which is very wise. Big old dining room for 8 people in there. The chairs are flowing now. We've got more seating, more kitchen shots. Look at the size of that bedroom. There's just a chair in the dressing room for no reason at all. Massive bathroom with both a bath and a separate shower. They've got stairs. I mean, who needs that much floor space in their bedroom? That could be split off into 3 different bedrooms. That's unnecessary. They've got a cabinet in their bathroom. We're living here, and I think we'll all agree I've made it. I am now officially a wealthy man. About time too. Let's try and last longer than a year in this job. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 1 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we are going to have a look around our new home at Norwich and also play our first match, which is a home game against Leeds United. Before that, though, of course, as you can see, I have made some purchases from the Norwich Club shop again. I've got the shirt behind me. I've got a training shirt to wear when I do some training. I've got my nice little pin, a lovely club tie. This is the first official club tie we've had in the entire series, and also the first tie in my life I've ever bought that came with instructions on how to tie a tie. Quite frankly, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, especially because they tie it the schoolboy way rather than using nice half Windsor like I have. So you're going to put instructions on how to tie a tie, Norwich? at least teach people to tie it nicely. My word. So, Norwich City Football Club. Let's have a little look around to see what we've got, shall we? And what we've got is a club rock bottom of the Premier League, although between my interview and getting the job, it looks like they have won a match. I'm pretty sure at the time of interview, they'd lost their first 7 games. They have now beaten Brentford and lost massively to Villa, which means the league table is now looking like this. 3 points on the board after 9 games isn't great, but it does only leave us 3 points behind Bournemouth in 17th place. And I think this is a situation we can get out of. I need to hope this is a situation we can get out of. If I get relegated, I think I'm probably going to get sacked again, and that would never do. And the club itself is looking pretty healthy. Financially, not loads of money, but importantly, basically no debt as well. The financial projections don't read too much into. There's Premier League money going to be poured in on top of that. So the financial projections should look very nice. We've got a decent transfer budget to spend, and we've got 2 months to decide how to spend it before the transfer window opens. We've also got a big bunch of spare wage budget as well. So if we were to stick all that into transfer budget, there's loads equally. We could spend loads on wages if we move the transfer budget the other way. So some nice flexibility in there, which is going to come in very handy as we work out what we need to do. Also very encouragingly, if we can make this a long-term home, which I hope to do. I know I said this at Schalke. I mean it here at Norwich. I want to do 5 years at Norwich. I want to really sort of settle in and build something here. And it is really nicely set up off the pitch to make that happen. We don't have a shiny new ground. It's actually quite limiting in only having a 27,000 capacity stadium if we are looking long term. But facilities wise, we're top on everything. Top corporate, excellent training, superb youth facilities, excellent academy, excellent youth recruitment. Should mean that we have a nice steady flow of good young players to come through the youth system. There's not much evidence of it there, although I guess if we go a little bit deeper and look at the under 18s and maybe filter them according to potential, there's 1 or 2 maybe, but I'd like to think that's something we maybe see a little bit more of over the coming seasons. We'd like a nice little flow of youth players. It's not quite going to be the Schalke level of youth players, but if we could get a nice little trickling of 1 or 2 of those coming into the first team squad every year, that would be super. And that's all the positives, because if we get on to the aforementioned first team squad, we realise there is a major rebuild that needs doing. I've picked my 11 for this game against Leeds, and if you look at the ages of this 11, my word, this is a team that needs a freshen up. We've actually been in the Premier League a couple of years now, 2 consecutive 17th place finishes, and it looks like this team is just kind of aging out of being good enough to stay in the league. But the youngest player in my first 11 in charge of Norwich is 29, and there's only 2 of them. Everyone else in that starting 11 is 30 or older, and half of them are 33. We have got a massive, massive first team rebuild to do. And if we look at the opposite end of the age spectrum with the first team squad, we don't have a massive amount of young players to do it with. There's this guy, Alejandro Salinas, who looks like he could be pretty blooming special, if you ask me, with that kind of value range. But he's out on loan at Reading. I don't know if we can recall him in January. I don't know if we'd even want to recall. He can be recalled. I don't know if he's ready for the first team now at only 2.5 stars. Beyond him, there's not really much else in the way of potential or even really young players. A huge part of the squad is they're pretty much all 23 or over. For a club whose club vision is to develop players using the youth system, sign players under the age of 23 for the first team and sign players under the age of 20 for the future, for that club vision, I don't know how the club have got into this mess. I can only assume this is new and they've recognised the problem and are now trying to fix it. They don't want me extending the contracts of the old men, and they want me to focus on bringing in young players. It's my speciality. I think it's probably why I got the job. Some of the criticisms I got for the transfer windows I did at Peterborough and Schalke, really focusing on youth, I think that focus on youth is why I was able to fall on my feet into the Premier League, because they know, if nothing else, even if I'm only here for a year and get them relegated, they know at the end of that year, they're going to have 8 or 10 very talented young players to build a new squad around. Perhaps this is going to be my new specialism, setting clubs up for the future whilst not necessarily getting results in the short term. I need a supervisor to come in and just temper me a little bit in the short term. Tactics-wise, this is what we're going to be doing. It's basically the system that we were using at Schalke with a couple of tweaks. We're not going to be playing with the withdrawn centre forward and the wingers pushing on the way we did there, mainly because I don't think we've got the oomph in those wide areas to push on successfully. Plus, arguably our best player is an advanced forward, a proper centre forward who's going to get in behind defenders, who has been scoring consistently for Norwich for a long time now, and I don't want to hamper him by telling him to drop back and play the holler-back role that we were doing at Schalke. Plus, with all the old men, I mean, we've already seen the age of all of the team. I don't know how mobile they're going to be. It's why we're playing a lower tempo system. We might even have to drop the counter-pressing. We'll see how they get on. I'm not quite sure how a system in FM22 without any kind of counter-press would work. Probably not very well, would be my guess. But we are trying to play a low-tempo system that will suit the old men that we've got. And we've then got, 8 games to, A, get us out of the relegation zone, which is easier said than done, with the group of players that we've got, and B, and arguably more importantly, is work out where we're going to spend this £20 million, because this is the Premier League again now. We're probably not going to be able to go out and buy 7 or 8 players the way we did, 6, I think we did in January with Schalke. But the Bundesliga is a cheaper land to live in, and you can buy a lower calibre of player to come in and improve the team. I've already scouted a lot of the Schalke team, and they're all being described as championship players in England, whereas in Germany, they were being described as good Bundesliga players. So we need a higher quality of player, which is going to cost a little bit more. So we're probably only going to be able to bring in, even abusing the never, never, which we're in a position to do because of the low debt we've got at the club. But even with abusing that, we're going to be spending, 50, 60 million pounds absolute tops. And we might even struggle to do that. And in the Premier League, that's 3 or 4 players. So we need more than 3 or 4 players, but we've got to work out where we need the first 3 or 4. And it's going to be a longer term rebuild job than anything we've done for a long, long time, I think. But enough talk. You've met the squad. You should now be as familiar with them as I am. And it's time to get into our first match, which is at home against Leeds. Leeds are, let's have a little look. Leeds are 13th in the league. If we look on the season preview, and we're predicted to finish 19th. They're predicted to finish 10th, but we are the home team. I would like to think this is a match we're capable of winning. But we're going to learn a lot about the team today, I think. So in goal, Angus Gunn, who obviously is there at Norwich in real life. Ryan Sessegnon at left back, now 29 years old, Ryan Sessegnon, but I've used him on Football Manager many times over the years. I know I can trust Sessegnon to be up and down that left-hand side. Even at 29 years old, he's got a natural fitness of 17. We should be okay with asking Sessegnon to push on and play in that wing-back role. Scott McKenna, our new captain at centre-back at 32 years old. It's not ideal. And then, don't know, Duji, Kaletaka, I don't know how to say any of that. At 33 years old, he's signed for Norwich. I mean, this is baffling. £8.75 million, like 3 months ago, for a guy who's just turned 33. What were they thinking? Yeah, he's 6'4". I love that. He's 33 years old. Don't be spending that kind of money on a player like that. Musa Wagyu at right back again, £14.5 million this summer just gone on a 31-year-old. How much did they spend this summer? The absolute maniacs. Okay, it was the year before. So it wasn't this summer just gone. It was the year before. They spent £66 million on a bunch of... How do you spend 66 million and still end up with a squad like this a year later? Ridiculous. Bartosz Sliz is a 30-year-old Polish defensive midfield player who's going to play as a ball-winning midfielder. As you'll see, the midfield is a slightly different shape to the one we used at Schalke as well, again, to try and play to the strengths of the old men that we've got here. Ibrahima Diallo, playing as a box-to-box midfielder. Again, a 30-year-old on box-to-box, not ideal, but he's got 17 natural fitness again, and has been here at Norwich for a long, long time now. Andreas Pereira, 33 years old, but is hopefully going to be a nice creative force for us. I've used him in FM before as well, a much younger version of him, probably on loan from Manchester United way earlier in the save, who I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, he can hit a nice set piece. But yeah, corners, free kicks, not as good as I remember. And then out wide, we've got Christian Pavon at 33 years old, 20 caps for Argentina, but never scored a goal. Another old man who's been signed relatively recently. It's such a theme. And then on the other side, Luis Fernando, 30-year-old Brazilian, who is officially the key player at the club, according to the bits and bobs that it shows you on the general info. And then Alvarez up front, who we've already met. I just need to see who was the manager who did those transfers. So that would have been, I think he was the guy who was brought in to try and save. So it's this guy who did that crazy transfer window, Sergej Semak, who in real life is manager of Zenit. He just came in, absolutely lost his mind, and believe it or not, now unemployed. Who'd have thought? Right, let's submit this team. Let's find out how good we are, because quite frankly, if we can't be competitive in a home game against Leeds, this is going to be a long, hard season. Luckily, I have been given the fight bravely against relegation target by the board, so we can probably get away with getting relegated and not getting sacked, although that was the instruction that I had when I went into Schalke as well. And obviously, we didn't get relegated and got sacked anyway there. So if we are going to have a bad season, we want it to be this season rather than next season, because this year we can get relegated without getting fired and probably come up as champions. If we just survive this year and then start badly next year, I'm probably getting fired. I'm learning so much about how to game the system. The first half has been utterly uneventful, which I guess for a team that ships as many goals as we do, it's probably not a bad thing. We just want to keep it nice and slow, nice and tight, and wait for an opportunity to go and grab a goal. The only problem is when the opposition go and grab a goal, we don't really have an answer to it because we can't really play a higher tempo and push forward. Hopefully this is being disallowed, or else this is going to be a very disappointing start to life at Norwich. It has been disallowed, thankfully. And we can't be losing the first game at home in front of a packed Carrow Road. Look how happy they are. They've all got their ties on wrong, but aside from that, I am very happy to be here. And if I achieve only one thing here at Norwich, it will be to convert the people of Norfolk to tying a tie with a half Windsor, the way Kev does. Also, the badge is much bigger than any of the previous pin badges I've had throughout this series. But Leeds are in here. We should probably stop discussing fashion for a moment, because Leeds are looking to build something here, and we're sticking men behind the ball. We're trying to defend valiantly, but they've got in behind us anyway, and there is the opening goal. And I don't think we're going to be saved by the VAR this time, because there was no doubt at all that was onside. Of course, it's a guy for them scoring his first ever goal for the club as well, as you would expect. And I mean, this is it's a goal we're used to conceding at every team I've been at. Playing a slightly higher defensive line, they get in over the top, they get in between the defenders, and they do that to us. We are used to it. It doesn't make it any more fun to see, and we don't seem to be offering anything at all going forward, which is, I mean, it's a worry. Oh my word, we're rubbish. Right, we've got two different variants of this that we've got saved that we can potentially try. Let's go to this one. We're going to do it attacking. It's closer to the control possession than the... we haven't got our roles sat on here. So we're going to have him doing that, and then we wanted him on that. Trying to remember how we had it set up now. I think it was like this, and then he was the ball-playing defender, who I think we had on cover. If we didn't, we should have done, because it might have stopped that goal going in. And he needs to just be a normal goalkeeper. Can't do sweeper keeper, apparently. One of these needs to be a bit more attacking. He can be more attacking. Right, let's make some substitutions as well. Fernando is tired. So Omar Marmoush is an Egyptian striker who's on the transfer list. Fantastic. It's exactly what we want to be bringing on. Have we got anyone else who can play on the right-hand side? Joe Gelhardt. I mean, goals against former clubs, anybody? It is a thing in FM, isn't it? I think we probably bring him on to play on that right wing in the hope that he grabs a goal against his former club. Full-on Football Manager style. We're also going to take... I mean, Sessegnon's been rubbish. Have we got another left-back? Alvaro Fernandez. Let's get him on at left-back. And I'm tempted to change the striker as well. I mean, we might bring the Egyptian fella on. Have a look what else we've got. Glenn Moore is a 23-year-old striker who came from Rangers on an exchange and has never scored for us. We've got Gonzalo Ferrolano, who's a 24-year-old Argentinian who's wanted by Frankfurt and scored 8 goals last year in the Premier League. He looks like the guy, maybe. Then we've got Fabio De Luca, who's a 23-year-old French striker. We're going to bring on this guy. Where is he? Ferrolano. And we're going to just do a straight swap up front and hope that he can be a little bit more mobile and just switching up the front three a little bit. Hopefully make us a little bit more of a goal threat. We're going to demand more as well. And we just want to see this XG increase before the end of the game. We're sat at a 0.31. It is not an ideal way to introduce yourself to a new football club. So if we could go and have a shot before the match ends, that'd be super. If we can somehow find a way to rescue a draw from this, even better. Right, Diallo playing it into Ferrolano. This is our first chance of the game. Why does he pass it there? Pavon is in and plays it all the way back to Wagyu. Diallo, no. What was the pass about? Ferrolano, I brought you on as my saviour as a striker. You get into a goal-scoring opportunity and don't even have a shot. There's a lot of work to do here. This feels like a bigger job than Schalke, which I guess is fair. I have just been sacked. This shouldn't be an easy job, but when you've got players with poor decision-making like that, it's going to be tough because there's not going to be many more games that offer the opportunity that Leeds at home offer. If we have a look at this now, 7 more games that we've got before the transfer window opens, before we can start bringing in Kev-style players, we've got, some of these look, we've got to get points off these matches. Ideally, we'd play Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, and all of them now when we're going to lose anyway. And this is the run that we get after we've brought in new players. Although I guess that means our run in at the end of the season. This is going to be key. Pretty much starting from Fulham in March. That gives our new players a month or 2 to settle in. And then that's where we save our season. That wasn't very good. We need to be better than that. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.